Hello and welcome to Altcoin XP. You guys know me as Anthony, but previously I was the Dread Pirate Roberts. Let me explain. In 2011, I joined a hippie commune in Portland. You would think drugs would be easy to get there, and your thinking would be correct. Turns out that when like-minded people work together and have easy access to each other, things get done. So our Portland community of 8 was super efficient because of that. We lived in tents in the woods, and not only did we have easy access to each other, but it was extremely hard to separate from each other too. This was a perfect scenario because we had no choice but to get along and help out each other. I think that's how marriage is supposed to work, but I digress. We shared one VW bus that was almost always broken down. The times that it wasn't, it was diligently transporting us to and from work. Yes, even though we were hippies, we still worked. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Being hippies, we obviously really like drugs. So we worked together to get each other drugs. Marijuana, acid, spook tutors, moonfluff, whiff busters, Chinese tar flies, you name it, we could get it. But lo and behold, and little did we know, more people would soon realize the advantages our hippie commune had, and they would want to join. Help those in need was always our motto, so we did just that. We never turned a soul away, not once to this day, and lovingly accepted newcomers into our commune. In the course of just 4 months, our hippie commune grew from just 8 members to about 200, and our VW bus, though faithful and diligent, just wasn't up to the task. Not only could we not transport all of our flower children to work every day, but we couldn't make the trip to Beaverton to pick up our drugs anymore. Mostly because there wasn't enough time in the day for our single VW bus to handle it all. So we searched for an entire week looking for another Volkswagen to buy. We even had it all planned out to pay for. Lily had good credit, so she was willing to take out a loan for the bus. And Suncrest, Juniper, and Ziggy were all getting good tips at their barista jobs, so they were going to pay on Lily's loan. But there was one big issue with our plan. There were 0 VW buses for sale in all of Oregon. In a fit of frustration, we held a powwow, ripped a few fat J's, and went to sleep. In the morning, Aspen woke up with a brilliant revelation. Our plan was fine for the short term, but it wasn't scalable at all. What were we going to do? Buy new Volkswagen buses every time our community grew and demanded more transportation? Aspen pitched the idea of having drugs brought to us instead of the other way around, and brought me to a library later to show me a website that he had found, the Silk Road. He was a true visionary, might I add. It's a shame he had that bad trip, flipped out on Adam, and ran away to pursue his dream of crossbreeding a tuna and a petunia. I wonder if he ever accomplished that. He thought people would be more willing to reach their omega-3 fatty acid intake if fish just didn't smell so fucking bad. Like I said, he was put on this earth ahead of his time. Anyway, Lily didn't need a loan anymore, so she signed up for a P.O. box, and Suncrest helped pay for that. Meanwhile, Ziggy, Juniper, and I, we were on library duty. The library only let us use 30 minutes of internet at a time, so we divvied up the tasks. We had a drop-off box at the center of our commune where everyone would fill out their weekly drug request form. Ziggy and I would tally up what was needed for the week, and all 3 of us would go to the library and place the orders on the Silk Road website. For those of you who don't know, the Silk Road was a website where you could buy drugs online with bitcoins and have them mailed to you. Pretty fucking convenient, eh? I should have explained that beforehand though, so I'm sorry for that. Anyway, now you may be thinking, how did you get bitcoins in 2012? That must have been difficult. Which, the answer is actually quite interesting. The library is basically a nerd commune. And we actually met the inventor of Bitcoin there, Craig Wright. He was promoting his product, the Bitcoin network, to the other nerds at the library and would give out 200 Bitcoins to anyone that would listen to him. Free drugs. Score. So that's that. That went on for a while. I'd say 4 to 5 months. Timeline-wise, it's now mid-2013. And one of the admins from the Silk Road reached out to me via private encrypted message, or PEM for short. He went by the name of General Chang, and originally I thought he reached out to tell us to chill on the drug purchases, out of concern we would get in trouble with US law. No doubt we were one of their biggest customers. I'd say we were doing about $3,500 worth of purchases per week at the time. So it made sense he wouldn't want us to go to jail. However, my initial assumption was wrong, and he explained that he was watching my activity in the Silk Road forums and liked what he saw. I spent a lot of time there trying to convert heroin users to acid users, because I knew they were ruining their lives and would OD and die one day. Being a hippie, like Ringo Starr, I was all about peace and love, so helping others was a priority of mine. Turns out, General Chang liked this too, and he told me how he thought my care for others was amicable, and he offered me a job at the Silk Road Health Council. The Health Council's job was to form close relationships with customers and keep them up on their mental states and living conditions, doing what we could to prevent bad situations, as Chang put it. I would even fly out to customers' houses sometimes. The council's purpose was to make sure customers wouldn't OD and die. Chang positioned this as helping the community out, but 2 months after I accepted this position, I realized that he didn't give a shit about helping the community and only cared about the health of his customers, so they would stay alive and purchase more drugs from his website. Now, I'm not one for violence, but in the face of corporate conglomerate greed, one must stand up for what's right. I made my case to our hippie commune, and we all agreed that we needed to kill Chang and take control of the Silk Road for ourselves and do good with it instead of evil. So we devised a plan to meet Chang in his London suite. This was right after Ross Ulbricht was put in jail and Chang took over as DPR. Oh, again, for those of you who don't know, Silk Road was led by one single account with the username Dread Roberts, or DPR for short. If something happened to the leader, a new DPR would take over the account and continue to lead the Silk Road website. So, as fate would have it, Chang messaged me about a big customer of ours, we'll call him Stitch, in London, who was in a bad state. Chang said that he wanted to fly me out to London to get Stitch off of heroin and hooked on acid and weed, which was right up my alley. Money was tight since the Silk Road funds recently were stolen by the US government, so Chang offered to let me stay at his London suite. Perfect heavenly goddess, what have you bestowed upon me? I immediately spread the joyous news to the rest of the hippie commune and arranged for 3 others to join me in London, who I'll keep anonymous. Being hippies, we had the perfect template for our murder too. We decided to carry this out Manson family style. We arrived in London on a Friday night, and we all got acclimated to each other over a bottle of Cristal and a spliff of Koosh. Chang was actually very kind and offered his bedroom to us while him and his girlfriend slept on the fold-out couch. And the next morning, Saturday morning, was our meeting with Stitch. Sparing the boring details about how Stitch's apartment reeked of cat piss and his bed was made out of napkins, we convinced him to drop acid with us and spend the weekend together. Then he gave us a tour of the city and showed us many of its famous bridges where him and his friends live under. It actually reminded me of my home, to be honest, but with a lot less flowers and sunlight. Speaking of sunlight, dusk soon fell upon us, and it was time to head back to Chang's. Stitch came with us, of course. We wouldn't leave a padre behind. And we actually convinced him to help out in the murders. So once we reached Chang's hotel, I climbed a telephone pole and cut the phone lines. Then I went around the building and cut a hole in the window screen. Climbed in, walked to the front door, unlocked it, and let my friends in. We took the main hotel room up to Chang's suite, knocked on his door, tackled him, and tied him up by his neck to his girlfriend's. Sparing much of the gory details, let's just say that we performed this murder Manson family style to a T. Parting ways with Stitch at the concierge. We flew back to Portland and everyone was relieved and at peace. We had stopped the evil Silk Road conglomerate that Chang was planning to build. And with Chang's laptop in hand, I became the new DPR, the new Dread Pirate Roberts. However, I soon found out there was one issue. Being a hippie, limited to just 30 minutes of internet access at the library per day, I couldn't sustain being DPR for long. The community became fed up with my lack of presence and oversight over the site and community issues. So I was asked politely to resign, which I accepted under the condition that I would have a fully funded new life. It would be paid for me to move far away from everyone I ever knew, and the Silk Road would fund whatever projects I had in mind that would keep me happy and busy. Since, at the time, I recently discovered PewDiePie, it was my dream to become just like him. So the new DPR purchased me some cameras on the Silk Road's behalf. This camera right here, actually. And here we are today with this YouTube channel. I'm well on my way to 56 million subscribers now, so congrats to me. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Donations, if you feel like you want to donate to me, I would really appreciate it. Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Dash can be sent to the addresses both on screen and in the video description. Lastly, follow me on all social media. Thank you, take care, and goodbye.